Hello, week 7 science. So we're looking at fear and we're looking at the science of fear. So the biology of fear is very well studied, and most people will have heard of many of the brain structures actually involved in the fear response, and they'll certainly be aware of some of the other hormonal responses that go on within the body, and indeed how issues like fear are actually promoted as well. So to begin with is the amygdala. Now everybody's heard about the amygdala, and it's famous because of the way in which it interprets signals coming in from the environment. So these are sensory inputs that are coming in from the environment, and it interprets them and decides whether it thinks that we should be running away from this thing, or freezing, or fainting, or fighting it indeed. So the amygdala is famous for this, and what it does is it sets off a cascade of responses within the body when it makes a decision that we're going to take one of those types of reactions to whatever the stimulation that's coming in. Then the body just sets in a path of complete mayhem in terms of the responses that are going on. Now, one of the things that's going on in our modern world, of course, is that we're seeing things as being very, very dangerous all of the time. So we have this unnecessarily pessimistic view of how dangerous our environment is, and as a result of that, what we're doing is that we're allowing our amygdala to trigger endlessly. So they're triggering endlessly, and the downstream effects of that are extraordinary. So when we have a genuine emergency, a genuine situation that we need to be fearful of, and the system kicks in, well and good. When it's continually going off, as it is happening in our modern lives today, then there's no good comes from it at all. So there's a couple of other small structures within the brain which are worth mentioning when we're talking about the amygdala, and they work to coordinate with the amygdala. And the first one is the cingulate gyrus, which is a very small structure, almost sort of hair-like structure, which is two of them, one on either side of the brain. And the cingulate gyrus have the habit of actually amplifying things. So if we have a behaviour or a memory system around how we respond to certain triggers, then the cingulate gyrus will step in and say, yeah, it's another one of those, let's up the response to it. So you can have a seemingly quite benign type of threat coming into a person, and because of the action of the cingulate gyrus, particularly if it's not functioning properly, then the response to it will be exaggerated further. So another small structure, or a pair of structures really, within the brain that are involved in this process of actually how we're interpreting the threat, is the caudate nucleus. And the caudate nucleus, there's two of them, one on either side of the brain as well. And what they tend to do is, if they are misbehaving, once again, is that they allow the interpretation to become skewed. So we get the interpretation of this danger becoming skewed. So between the cingulate gyrus, the caudate nucleus and the amygdala, we've got a recipe here for experiences or events or things that are going on in your environment to be taking on a completely inappropriate scale of danger. The way we're actually perceiving this danger can be dramatically out of kilter. Hooked into all of this, of course, the sex hormones, and the common one is testosterone, and testosterone makes you act and react against these threats that are coming in or perceived to be coming in. So when we actually have, regardless of, we talked about in the philosophy, we gave this example of eating some sugar. Now, if we actually perceive eating some sugar as being something which has a great threat associated with it, every time we eat a piece of cake or eat some candy, that we really are actually exposing ourselves to genuine, real and clear and present danger, then what will happen is, if we've got plenty of this testosterone available, is it's really going to ramp up the response further in the organism. So we've now come out of the hormonal responses that are going on within the brain, and now we're actually in the body. Now, you might say testosterone, I'm a woman, testosterone doesn't have much to do with me. Well, the in a woman, the testosterone is produced in other tissues in the body, and indeed in a man, the majority of the testosterone in the body is not produced in the testes in any case. So testosterone is a hormone which is freely available to women as well as men. So last but not least in this whole complex of interrelated hormonal systems is the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys, so you have two of them, one on top of each of your kidneys. And the adrenal glands get all of the signaling that's going on and the cooperation with the testosterone and the other hormones. There's lots and lots of others, so I'm only talking about the major ones here. So the adrenal glands get producing what we would commonly call adrenaline, and that is the get up and go process. Now once you've actually got into a situation where you're producing all of this adrenaline and the body is now in full fight-flight response, then the chances of you being able to carry out normal repair functions within your body are severely diminished. And it's critical for you to actually be carrying out these sorts of repair processes within your body the majority of the time. You want that to be happening by far and away the majority of the time in a day. And however, that's not the case in our modern world. In our modern world, where we're thinking that everything is a threat to us, what we're doing is we're actually triggering these responses continuously. So the net result of all of that is that we're not healing properly, we're not metabolizing our food properly, we're not doing the normal metabolism within the body, we're continually skewing the demands, the actual energy demands in your body to the place where it's the kind of energy response systems within our body which are appropriate for running away from a lion. Well, we're not running away from lions, we're much better off being able to have the type of energy response systems which are interacting with our slow release energy which is in our fat reserves. So these are key interrelated issues which are going on here within, and they're all fear related. So these are all things that are going on within our body and they're all fear related. Okay, well look, I hope that has been helpful for you. Once again, I urge you to post any of your questions up on the TRIM Facebook group. That's definitely the place to go. We're getting lots of really good conversations going on inside the Facebook group, so I look forward to hearing your questions there, and good luck with your TRIM journey. So thanks for watching.